From Cambridge, Massachusetts, we welcome you to continuing coverage of the 2024 Collegiate Water Polo Association Championships. Semifinal number 1 features the host, the 3-seed Harvard Crimson, battling the 2-seed, the Michigan Wolverines, here today inside Blodgett Pool. We welcome you inside the broadcast position with Austin Ringheim. I'm Drew Casey. At Austin, two programs that play very similar styles, largely because Cassie Churnside, the head coach of Michigan, was here at Harvard for 8 years. Should be a great matchup today.
Yeah, no, we were talking to Coach Minnis earlier, and he said there should be a lot of resemblance from things that she might have come and brought to the Crimson program that she took with her into her new role as the head coach for the Wolverines. So it should be really exciting to watch. Both teams want to play fast in transition, let their defense kind of speak and stem the offensive momentum. So again, it should be an exciting game, and not only is it just because it's a semi, but a little bit more juice with Cassie on the other side.
Certainly the case here as we are off with our opening sprint. Harvard from left to right in the dark caps. Michigan is in the white caps as the 2-seed, Harvard the 3-seed. And Michigan will attack right to left. Appreciate you joining us here on ESPN+. Harvard winning in the opening round yesterday, handling St. Francis 12-9. That was a tight game for 2.5, 3 quarters. Michigan into set immediately. Common whistle here, that is upgraded. It is now an exclusion, 6-on-5 for the Wolverines. Quick shot, field blocked out. Big active hands defensively, Sasha Constance.
Yeah, especially in a game like this, Drew, it's really going to come down to the power play opportunities here. Who can convert either on their 6-on-5 or who can get some stops in the 5-on-6. So
Michigan team that likes to move quickly too, and we saw the shot early. Give me the starters here. Harvard setting up, attacking the goal to our right inside Blodgett Pool. Erin Kim is out there with Ella Schneider, Ruby Hodge, Maya O.D. Thrown away here, but we've got a whistle and an exclusion. Katie Greenwald starts with Constance, who we've heard from. The Crimson keeper is Alexis Kiekefer. And Harvard currently going to work on the Michigan keeper, Alex Brown. Fantastic year for the graduate student. 6-on-5 for the next 16 seconds for Harvard. Opening minute of semifinal number 1. Princeton and Brown in semifinal 2 at 2 o'clock Eastern time. Sent out wide side. Many fakes by Hodge, stopped by Brown. And is able to be controlled by the Michigan keeper.
Yeah, you saw Michigan come out with, you saw the Crimson come out with a little bit of a different 6-on-5 look. Last night they were really, condensed, really trying to bring that top line as close to the goal as possible, where this morning we just saw they were a little bit farther apart, a little bit more spread out, trying to open up that post player. So curious to see if that was an adjustment or just the way that they ended up starting off this first power play.
Shot clock at 6 seconds, traditional 6-on-6. The shot is stopped by Maya O.D. and then it rolled to the goalkeeper, Kiekefer. Harvard partisan crowd did not like what they saw in the mid-pool coming up in transition. That's going to be key how that's called today. And that up and down, both of these teams want to go.
Yeah, both teams want to play really physical in transition. They like to get into that inside water position, get that defender on their back. They thought that the way that she was able to kind of
one heck of a stop. Constance able to get it over to O.D. and Alex Brown. Good movement to the far post to keep it out. Starters for Michigan. We've talked about Alex Brown. Kaya Levenfeld, of course, starts. Kata Utasi, the senior from Hungary. 60 goals on the Catino Award watch list. Shot clock at 6 here. The rest of it in a moment. Looking is Hirschfield, and it's field blocked out wide. The hands this time from Emma Gilbert.
Yeah, I mean, that starts with the center presence of the Wolverines. Again, they're forcing the Crimson to play into that zone defense, but that also just puts a lot more hands up in the middle of the pool.
Ruby Hodge got free. Exclusion 1, hit from behind. And back to the attack. Harvard, Ted Minnis telling us earlier in the week, if this team can go over 60%, ball's going to come out of the water. Harvard player lost the cap pretty early, and they're going to get that recycled. I think it's Katie Greenwald. It is, and Greenwald will re-secure. Second team all-conference honoree, Katie Greenwald. It was announced earlier this week. Rest of those Michigan starters that we didn't get to yet: Lola Cerulli, Libby Alsomguest, and Allison Locke. Plenty of all-conference honorees on the Wolverines side, actually the most of anybody. Michigan 20-10 overall, 7-2 in the league in games that were played. There was a forfeit due to some travel issues with St. Francis in a game against Michigan, so really 8-2 in the standings for Michigan. Harvard 5-5 and 12-12 overall on the season. This is still a power play opportunity. We're scoreless nearly 3 minutes in. Harvard's second woman-ups opportunity and absolutely robbed. Alex Brown got in front and kept Katie Greenwald out.
Yeah, Brown's been a stalwart for the Wolverines defense. So again, just trying to play through her, get some big stops, gain that momentum, and see if they can keep capitalizing on the other side of the pool.
Of course, a new shot clock hits at 24 seconds. Many fakes from Hodge. It could not get home. The field blocking hands, keeping it away. It was Levenfeld there. And now we get whistles coming up the pool. Ruby Hodge excluded out. We will have to watch foul trouble very, very closely in this one. Expected to be very physical. Two most physical teams in the league, probably by far. Inside of 5 meters. Final seconds of the advantage. Again blocked out. Nobody can even get it to Cage on either side. OD defensively. We thought this could be a low-scoring game. Goalkeepers have been tested, but they haven't had to make saves necessarily just yet. Another advantage for Harvard, 6-on-5 for the third time, 0 for 2. Both teams are 0 for 2 in the early going. Cycled around straight on for Erin Kim, now back to the high side left. Looking for OD, the conference rookie of the year, opens the scoring. It's 1-0 Harvard here in Cambridge.
That was a great power play from the Crimson. You see Katie Greenwald doing a good job of moving towards the middle, almost trying to force that top defender to kind of decide whether she focuses on OD or the post player coming towards the middle of the pool. So great job of recognizing where the 2-on-1 was, and credit to OD for stepping up as a first year and putting her Crimson on the board.
2 goals yesterday for Maya. Had a fantastic, fantastic year. As we just mentioned, the best freshman. Little more than 4 minutes in now, Michigan looking to level at 1 apiece. These teams, of course, have played twice during the regular season. Michigan claiming victory in both of those, 12-8 and 9-6. But this is the first matchup that is a true road game. Those two are neutral pools, Princeton and Bucknell respectively. Michigan looking to tie. And send wide on the dying shot clock from Ashley O'Neill, who has checked in.
Yeah, something to note here, Drew, is number 9, Lola Cerulli, does have her second exclusion of the game, and we're only halfway through the first period. I know she's a big piece for the Wolverines program, and it'll be interesting to see how Coach Churnside mitigates that and keeps her in the game as long as possible.
Second team all-conference player, turnaround shot, not going to fool Alex Brown. Good effort from the Crimson and Gilbert, but it remains 1-0. We're going to have to watch the save number for Alex Brown. Double-digit saves in 16 games this year. She might be on pace for a double-digit first half in saves. There's been some field blocking hands to help out as well. Michigan struggling to get into its offense. No problem, though. Long range. Sammy Monroe ties it at 1.
Good recognition by O'Neill there that as that Crimson defender does that kind of crossover stroke to kind of continue to improve her angle, she still recognizes that she has that strong side lane open. As a goalie, we want to trust our shot blockers, so you can see Kikafer really trusting that shot blocker on the left-hand side of the pool, and unfortunately just not able to get into that shooting lane.
22 goals for Monroe now on the season, approaching and actually exactly getting to 50 points now in total. Got a whistle, it's an offensive breaking for Michigan. This will be interesting, the transition races that we expect to see. Slight advantage for the Wolverines. Harvard, a nice job getting back. Not fully, though. The skipper is in near side. 2 in a row for Michigan. Brooke Ingram. And the Wolverines lead for the first time.
Yeah, fist pumps all over the place, Drew. You can see how important this game is for both programs, but Ingram's been fired up for both of the last 2 goals for the Wolverines.
Michigan coming off a very high emotional game just last weekend against Indiana in the Midwest. Skips near side, just getting by Alexis Kiekefer. And here we go. A defensive start. Now some shots getting to cage. No contact there. Common whistle. And now maybe an exclusion. Timeout. Actually, yes, an exclusion, but not where the ball was being tended to by Brooke Ingram, down low at center. And a timeout coming from Harvard head coach Ted Minnis to discuss here. Down 2-1, a full 20 seconds of advantage time coming out of the timeout, almost 6 minutes in to this semifinal matchup.
Yeah, it's really important here for the Crimson to settle back in. Again, just trying to continue to not let this game get out of reach. Michigan seemed to grab that momentum over the last minute and a half or so. So, again, Coach Minnis just trying to settle everybody in. And again, we're in the conference tournament, so this is not necessarily anything that is new from a technical or tactical standpoint. These are all things that they've worked on, especially this week leading up to the tournament.
Yeah, certainly the case. And leading up to this week, we talked a little bit yesterday, if you were with us, in the differences of approaches for various teams. For example, Brown and Felix Mercado, they were ousted in the first round. Last year, they didn't want to think past Friday at all. They didn't look at anybody, prepare for anybody. Harvard, though, on the other side, touched on just about everybody in the field that they could play, and their preparation late in the week turned to both St. Francis and Michigan. And they have an opportunity here to try and beat the Wolverines for the first time this year. It's always tough to beat a team 3 times.
Yeah, the rules of 3, Drew. It can get you. That's for sure.
It certainly can. So out of the timeout, let's see what Harvard has. Setting up the 6-on-5 offense, unable to score. Number of opportunities. This is 4 already by my count. And the big board confirms that for me. Maya O'D. We'll get it back here.
Really active, Drew, which is great, and really kind of isolate them. 1 on nobody or a 2-on-1 opportunity.
Big save by the keeper, Alex Brown, coming back for her 5th season, her graduate year in the maize and blue. And Coach Churnside just elated when she got that news, and Alex Brown has been superb this year. Inside water, 5-meter coming for Ingram, who is having herself a first quarter.
Yeah, that penalty call was on number 9, OD, and to have Ruby Hodge and OD, part of their 3-headed monster, to have an exclusion each in the first period. Again, I'm really curious to see how Coach Ted Minnis handles that and moves forward.
Looking for 3 straight. The Wolverines have it. Inside the near post. Kata Utasi, the senior, makes it 3-1.
There's not a better shot than that, putting that thing bar into the left side of the shooter's left side of the pool, goalie's right, and doing everything she can to will her Wolverines to a victory.
I think Michigan's got some energy in this game.
I think so. I mean, even from the moment they walked on the pool deck, they've been fired up. They know that this is a business trip, and they knew what the task at hand was.
They were ready to go really early. They lined up for the lineups about 5 minutes early, about 11:45. They just wanted to get this game going. Harvard was still finishing its warm-ups, and the Crimson certainly did that. 3 straight for Michigan. Under 90 seconds to play in quarter 1. Winner to the semifinals, or excuse me, winner to the final. This is the semis. Long range, that's high. Shot clock was nearing its expiration. Erin Kim had to fire. Wolverines did lose last weekend to Indiana. Clean defense here, say the officials. Trying to get on through was Awesome Geese, but could not. It was Ruby Hodge defending.
Yeah, Hodge did a really good job of recognizing that early entry pass was coming, put her hands up, kind of rotated, didn't necessarily get over-aggressive or on the top of her back, and used the goalie Kiekefer as her 7th defender.
Greenwald fighting down at center, drew that common whistle. 14 on the shot clock. As it kicks out and around. And Harvard forced to go back near half tank with 8 on the shot clock. Kim under, being defended by Izzy Jackson. Shot clock's at 5, and exclusion is 1. Harvard has sent a couple of players back. It's 4-on-4, make it 4-on-3 for the moment. Lots of space to operate. Can Harvard capitalize? Everybody's coming back now. We'll have 4-on-4. Now it is 6-on-5, if you will, for the next 5 seconds. Rising, unable to score. Emma Gilbert, a good look, part of the field, and then the goalkeeper, Alex Brown, there again.
That's right. You saw Michigan do a little bit of a slight adjustment there where they actually kind of went with a 4-woman down, I guess, defensive style, where their top line was pretty much splitting in between. So a little bit of a different tactic there, put some external pressure on the shooters.
The final seconds of the first quarter tick off. Michigan has a 3-1 lead. Harvard scored the first goal, but then 3 straight for the Wolverines. And the 2 seed leads the 3 seed. 3-1 after 1. We'll have the second quarter coming up right after this here from Blodgett Pool on ESPN+.
Welcome to the community. We want to introduce ourselves to you.
We're a not-for-profit financial cooperative founded and operated by Harvard employees.
If you work or study at Harvard or any of the teaching hospitals, you and your family are eligible to join.
We've helped thousands in the community buy their first homes, pay off their student loans, and build strong credit.
Ask your friends and colleagues why they bank with HUEC.
And get to know us at huecu.org/hello.
I love when families are able to come here and I can tell them they don't have to worry about paying for their care. They've got enough to worry about taking care of their sick child. Every single person that contributes is a part of that St. Jude family that makes that happen. Because of donors, we're giving families hope.
Ticket Smarter is proud to support St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. $1 of every transaction will go directly to benefit St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Visit ticketsmarter.com to learn how you can help today.
Back here with you, it is the 2024 CWPA Championship semifinals on this Saturday. Michigan and Harvard through one quarter. The Wolverines have a 3-1 lead. We welcome you back with Austin Rinkheim. I'm Drew Casey, the rest of our fantastic team. And take a look at the Michigan huddle there. We know the identities of these teams. Everyone in attendance likely does, as this is the third meeting of the season. But the physicality for Michigan seems to be paying off, and they've been able to hold Harvard 0 for 5 when Michigan has been excluded out.
Yeah, and I mean, again, that's credit to Michigan's goalie, Alex Brown. She's doing a great job of holding her water, maintaining her space. The shot blockers are doing exactly what they need to do in terms of funneling the ball, not necessarily giving the Crimson a whole lot of opportunity. But no, I'm sure that in that Wolverine huddle there, you're pretty much talking about not getting excluded in transition. They currently have 4 different players that have at least 1 exclusion, and number 9, Lola Cerulli, with 2 after the first quarter. So again, really just trying to continue to maintain space, not necessarily counter-rotate to the opposite direction where they end up on the Crimson back. And again, just making sure that they clean up the little things and should continue to put them in a position to be successful.
Really nice crowd filling in here, especially long ways of the pool behind the respective benches. The Michigan faithful, well-traveled. They are seated largely behind the Harvard goal that you see screen left there as we wait for the second quarter sprint. It was tight in the first, pinballed both directions before Michigan was able to secure it. Izzy Jackson swimming for the Wolverines from right to left. Maya O'D trying to win it for Harvard. It'll be a clean win back for the Wolverines. 3 straight goals for Michigan, turning a 1-0 early deficit into a 3-1 lead. Looking to defeat Harvard for the 3rd time this season and get back to the CWPA Championship game. Bouncing around here. Shot clock is already to single digits. Some space for the lefty. Long range, buried. Cannot give Utasi that much space to shoot. and it is 4-1 Wolverines.
And anytime that you can start the quarter with that extra possession, winning the sprint, again, after the momentum that the Wolverines had created from the first period, it seems like they're just picking up right where they left off.
Harvard already taking one timeout. That was back in the first quarter. Looking for a tally. Heidi Heffelfinger is in. Heffelfinger, the lefty, really strong game yesterday. Helped contribute to a couple of goals in Harvard's win over St. Francis to get to this game. This is Sasha Constance also scored a goal yesterday, crossbar. That's something that Harvard did a bunch of. It was almost double-digit posts or bars out yesterday. And as you said, Austin, hoping today you can get the better rolls.
That's right, yeah, get him out of the way yesterday. But no, I mean, even in that first offensive possession there from the Crimson, you saw a little bit of adjustment. They recognized that the Wolverines defense is a little bit heavy today, so really trying to go into more of a movement style offense, see if they can get a couple more exclusions, utilize a couple of these timeouts, and close the gap.
Big time defensive play there. Ella Schneider pushed it under after Kiekefer went out for the steal, the attempted steal, couldn't quite get it. Teammate helped out with what was an open net situation. Can that defense lead to some offensive momentum for Harvard? This is Ruby Hodge just waiting. Ruby gets it back now and further along, approaching 2 meters, and there's Constance to score. Big goal for Harvard. It's 4-2, early second. Got the feeling Harvard really needed that, Austin.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to stop the bleeding there. Again, really good recognition, experience, and composure from Constance. Just getting big, making a big one or two pump fakes towards the strong side, getting Alex Brown to commit towards the right side, and then just bearing it back cross cage high.
OD and Constance have scored, but in between 4 goals for Michigan, so that does stop the 4-0 scoring run. Wolverines back to the offensive attack. Walking in here is Ashley O'Neill. This is a Michigan team that will go deep. 2, even 3 lines if needed. The no-look shot is high from Elise Walker. Both fan bases really enjoying the competition in the middle of the pool. Officials Joe Pila and Easton Honecker might have their hands full in the transitional areas.
Especially as we get deeper into this game and it continues to be a competitive one. Yeah, it should be very, very colorful up here in the stands.
OD into center, looking to get it to Heffelfinger, but it's an offensive and going the other way. I didn't think anyone was inside too, just a push off. 4-2, Michigan looking to retake the 3-goal advantage. Into center, little spacing available, but the crash came and Brooke Ingram couldn't get much on it. Alexis Kike for the save. All 4 of the semifinal teams play a very aggressive type defense, the press, and we'll see a lot of that. It'll be tough for anybody in our first 2 games today to find good looks. Another one inside, a duck under it looks like, away from the play, and it will be Michigan back with it.
Yeah, that looks like that was Ella Snyder as she was trying to attack that left post, just try to get to the inside water, but unfortunately not able to duck under for position there.
Gustafson driving in, and maybe inside of 2 meters, or Elise Walker was pushing off, nearing that area away from the play. Intercepted on the outlet pass. Transition for Michigan, perhaps. Izzy Jackson. Katie Greenwald commits the exclusion. Number 1 against Greenwald. Horn sounds, timeout. Michigan. And a full timeout for the Wolverines to discuss here, leading 4-2. Well, if you haven't woken up yet, slow start to your weekend, regardless of where you are in the country or perhaps in the world. I think you're awake now if you've been with us since the start. We've had a high-intensity beginning. And it's interesting, obviously there is no tomorrow, quote-unquote. You will play in a third-place game tomorrow if you come up short. But you've got to leave it all out there. And at 4-2 in the second quarter, there is only a guaranteed 20 minutes left.
Yeah, no, 100% true. And again, I think the big goal here, especially starting in January, is wanting to play your best water polo at the end. So pretty much today is the end. So you want to make sure that you put your best foot forward, see, all that work that you've done, all that game experience that you've created throughout the last 10 or 12 weeks, and put it in the pool today. So I think, again, both teams are doing a really good job. We've seen a lot of good stretches from both the Crimson and the Wolverines. So again, it's just going to be the team that continue to minimize the amount of mistakes that you can create or that you have on either side, and again, ultimately taking advantage of these power play opportunities. Both programs have drawn 5 and 4 respectively. So again, these are really the make or breaks in a high-level game like this.
This is the first power play of the second quarter. The rest was all in the first, so it's tightened up a little bit. And Michigan to the 6-on-5 out of the timeout from head coach Cassie Churnside, who was an assistant here at Harvard for 8 years. Knows this place like the back of both of her hands. And her team now, the Wolverines, score at her former home. Emma Gustafson, the freshman, makes it 5-2.
Wolverines doing a good job of rotating from that 4-2 sequence into more of a 3-3, spreading out the Crimson defense, just giving Gustafson a one-on-one opportunity to continue to move laterally to her left, improve her angle, and just burying it right over Kikofer's head. As a goalie, that's one of the harder shots. Again, you kind of have to be aware of everywhere in the goal and obviously where you are locationally, but just to get from that hands in the water to directly above your head, it's a little bit more of a difficult task that we ask of our goalies.
Gustafson now with 41 goals on the season, making it 5-2 Michigan. Second time the Wolverines have led by 3. Harvard looking to quickly get it back. Zapata inside. A lot of trouble, or rather a lot of traffic for Facey. And it's going to be a 5-meter opportunity. Trouble for Michigan.
Yeah, talking to Coach Minnis, he wants his women to go 100% on these penalties, so we'll see what Kim can do.
Kim looking to score, and it's off the right post, and it stays out. Second time that Harvard has been unsuccessful on a 5-meter, and that is a big one.
Yeah, I don't think I jinxed it, but I'm sorry if I did, Coach.
Skipper, this one rolls, and it stayed out. Michigan thought it went over, and they might have a case from our vantage point. Michigan retains possession. Wolverines faithful right on this end of the pool. They won't be able to switch sides. There are no stands on the other side behind the goal, which will be the direction the Wolverines will attack in the second half, and now thrown into the corner. A lot of contact here. Erin Kim took a lick. No call. Elise Walker a break. Crowd reacting, and from our vantage point, looks like they missed one there. Zapata. And settling in for Harvard. Facey around for Schneider. Now Annabelle Facey has it back to Zapata. Shot clock is down to 4 seconds. Zapata one pass and maybe a fire. Might have to come from Schneider, and couldn't even get it off. Big stretch here. Final 2:40 until halftime. Earlier meetings this year, Michigan led by 2 at the half in March, and Harvard led by 1 in the most recent meeting on April the 6th, 3 weeks ago. So Michigan could take its largest lead at any point in this series this year. The lob is going to fall. Oh, pretty fine. The lefty has done it again. Kata Utasi makes it 6-2. With a beautiful lob cross cage.
Yeah, I mean, that stems from their center presence. Again, forcing the Crimson back into these zones. They kind of have a 2-person game right here where they're able to move the ball freely. And again, she felt no external pressure when she was trying to make that shot and putting it perfectly into that cross cage corner.
Utasi has 3. Michigan leads by 4 at 6-2. And the Maize and Blue in good shape. Harvard looking to change the momentum as we approach halftime of semifinal number 1. 2-3 game, Michigan the 2 seed. Bye yesterday, traveled from Ann Arbor. Got in last night to the greater Boston area. Harvard played at 4 o'clock, beat St. Francis. Slept in their own beds last night. Another crossbar. If you include the penalty, 3 already bar outs of some fashion for the Crimson. Michigan looking to really create some separation. Walker, Prentice defending. Now it reverses. Looking for some space around was Locke. Harvard wanted a whistle and an offensive. It doesn't come, and a long-range goal is punched in by Sammy Monroe, who now has 2 goals in the game, and it's a 7-2 Michigan lead.
The deeper we get into this game, the more confident these Michigan perimeter players are looking. Again, I believe that was a timeout by Coach Minnis, just trying to stop the bleeding here. Michigan going on a couple goal run and see if they can create something on the Crimson side.
So 2 for Monroe, and a timeout needed for the Harvard Crimson there. Down 5 here. Ted Minnis, you're certainly hoping for at least a goal before halftime, but part of this and a lot of this may be the defensive side. Michigan has scored 4 goals in the second quarter. Did put up 8 in the last meeting between these two in the first half, but Harvard put up 6 in the first half. Much different story here. Plenty of time, but what do you think the message from Ted Minnis is, Austin?
Yeah, I mean, continue to settle in. Again, they're not having a lack. It's not due to a lack of high percentage shooting or scoring opportunities there. It's just, again, taking the extra second, extra patience. They're playing at home in front of their home crowd. Again, they got to stay in their beds last night, but I think they all recognize, both programs, how big of a moment this is. So, again, just trying to get his women to settle back in, continue to feel like it's another day at practice, and, yeah, kind of put that ball a little bit lower and put it where it needs to be.
And it's always interesting when you look at the Michigan huddle here, and when you talk about a situation like this, the 2-3 game in terms of the postseason arrangement, but Michigan didn't play yesterday, had to fly here. Harvard did play, and then there's the advantage-disadvantage debate, and so far, advantage Michigan, who did not have to play yesterday.
Yeah, I imagine that they got a full practice in yesterday morning before they hit the road, so they have had a little bit more time to pretty much prepare for either Princeton or St. Francis, and I imagine that they've game planned for both programs and the best way to be successful. So, again, with the Crimson playing yesterday, they obviously had St. Francis in front of them, so I know that they had a little bit more of their focus on that game as well as this game today. So, again, you can just kind of see the Wolverines a little bit more locked in for this game today.
This is even strength action. It was not a Harvard timeout because of a 6-on-5 coming. OD here, inside of 2, now kick back out. Long range, Erin Kim blocked before it could get to Cage. It does reset the shot clock, though. Emma Gilbert, Harvard retaining possession. Good look here, and it's off the crossbar and out again. Harvard cannot get it inside their own cages here. 1 minute to go until halftime. Now looking for a stop. 4th time Harvard has hit a crossbar or a post, and one of them was on a penalty. That one was on a near 3-quarter open net far side. Turnaround is in for Michigan, and the Wolverines are all over it at Blodgett Pool. It's Elise Walker to make it 8-2.
Yeah, really impressive backhand. Again, she has that center defender tangled up with that left side of her left shoulder, and she recognizes that she doesn't necessarily have the ability to really pivot or make any sort of extra moves, and she doesn't waste any time just get that big counter rotation backhand in and bearing it cross cage low.
It's the second 4 straight goal run for Michigan. It was 1-0 Harvard, then 4-1. Harvard made it 4-2 early in the second, and since Michigan has struck for 4 straight goals. Still the first half, but this is almost a must-score situation for Harvard.
Yeah, with 1 possession left, you have to continue to try to chip away, or at least put one in to find a little bit of momentum or a little bit of juice going into the 3rd quarter.
Greenwald feeding center. Usually it's the opposite, and it's powered in. A little high-low, if you will. Harvard on the board for the 3rd time. And it is the first year, Emma Gilbert, to get it within 5.
Gilbert doing a good job of recognizing that she does have a couple external crashes coming in, and again, just making a little bit of a quarter turn, squaring up her shoulders, being able to locate and look at the goal to see where Alex Brown is, and being able to put it right over her head where she can't get it.
Michigan's going to go 7-on-6 here. The shot clock is turned off. Cage open on the other side. This likely means if you're going to shoot before 1 or 2 seconds, you better score, or you wait until the final seconds. Harvard crowd trying to count down early. It might have worked, to be honest. And the shot came with about 4 seconds. Cage was open, but it could not be fired the length of the pool. And that will do it for the first half of play at Austin. 8-3, Michigan in good position. It'll be interesting to see how these teams come out after halftime.
Yeah, 100%. I'm sure both messages are a little bit different here. Again, as the Wolverines and Coach Stern side, it's really just about continuing to do what you've done in the first half, really continue to lean into what you've been successful at, get the hot hand going or keeping the hot hand on. And if you're the Crimson, again, really talking about getting back into transition, continuing to settle back in. Defensively, I don't think they're necessarily making any sort of, bad decisions. They're doing a good job of funneling the ball, making sure that Kiefer has a good angle on the goal, but offensively, just continuing to take that extra breath, settle back in, and just trying to put the ball away.
The winner will advance to meet the victor in the 1-4 game, which is next between Princeton and Brown. Halfway through semifinal number 1. Michigan 8, Harvard 3. We'll come back with the second half after these messages here on ESPN+.
These Bulldogs are the top dogs. Harvard, an overtime winner. Princeton into the round of 32. National NCAA Women's Rugby Championship in the Big Green of Dartmouth. That will do it. The Brown Bears and the Lions fall off. And Cornell will play on Championship Monday.
I think the shared commitment we all have is that we're here to decrease the stigma around mental health. We want to make it a more open conversation, whether it's talking about student-athlete mental health, coaches' mental health. We got one goal, we just got to work together to complete that.
I think the evolution of the conversation about mental health has become prominent year after year for the last decade, if not more. But I think we're finally at the tipping point where the conversation isn't just about how are we reactive to prevent worst case scenarios, but how are we managing everyday stressors and activities?
I have really loved today. I mean, just the conversations. I love talking about mental health, and so being able to dive deeper. I think the keynote was incredible, seeing what mental health in athletics looks like really at the highest level.
Mental health is the same thing as physical health, right? We all have it. You guys are all in the sports space. You wake up in the morning and you do a physical check. It might actually inform how you work out that day, how you approach your training. What would happen if we took the same approach to mental health?
This is my first mental health summit that I've been able to attend, and just recognizing the value of sharing those best practices. We all have very unique institutions, and so, I think it's very valuable to sit here and think, hey, that's really cool, jot that down. How can I adapt that for our institution? And it's also a really incredible moment to be able to just have a lot of school pride, a lot of league pride.
I've always thought mental health is very important. The stress and anxiety that student athletes have to go through to play their sport, to compete in their sport, there's so much going on outside of that. And I think this mental health summit is a really good step forward to decrease that stigma and to continue to give access and to continue to give thoughts.
I think mental health is something where, because we don't talk about it as often, I think coaches might not fully understand the grasp of what that feels like to an athlete.
If your team is not open about talking about mental health, you have to open the doors and you got to be like, guys, we're all in this together.
Dartmouth College has taken holistic student-athlete development incredibly seriously. I was one of few athletic administrators with a sports psychology background, and then since my role has evolved in the last 5 years, I've been able to continue to support a team that is collectively building to enhance mental wellness, well-being, and performance of all of our student-athletes. How do we make sure we're cultivating an environment? And this is where everyone in the room has an impact on the environment that occurs within your campus. And all of us need to be actively cultivating it.
I want the idea of mental health being stigmatized to be something so of the past that we can't even imagine not having this open conversation.
These Bulldogs are the top dogs. Harvard, an overtime winner. Princeton into the round of 32. And Cornell will play on Championship Monday.
Welcome you back here to Blodgett Pool. Coverage on ESPN Plus of the CWPA Championship. This is semifinal number 1, day 2 of 3. We also have 3 games today. We'll have the 5th place game coming up at 4 o'clock. That will feature Bucknell and St. Francis of Pennsylvania. But here, the Wolverines, of course, switching sides. We get a good look at their huddle. Likely pretty positive and keep the foot on the pedal if you're the Wolverines up 8-3.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right, Drew. Again, trying to keep these women in high spirits, continuing to do what they've done to be successful and come out to this 5-goal advantage. And then, again, from the Crimson side, I don't think they're doing any sort of game planning in a negative way, but it's just, again, trying to continue to settle in, take a little bit of a half a second breath and put that thing away. There's still plenty of time left with 16 minutes left in this game, and just chip away and try to grab some of that momentum.
The all-important sprint for quarter 3. Michigan wins it now 3 for 3. Something I found interesting, speaking with Coach Churnside earlier this week, last year a Michigan team that almost felt after the fact that the CWPA Championships were theirs to lose. This year, more experience within the championship environment, feels as if it's theirs to win.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the difference between the monkey on their back versus not. Again, Michigan was on a 6-run championship, I guess winning championship run, and again, at that point, it takes a lot of work to stay at the top. So put a little bit more of that external pressure. Now that they've kind of got that monkey off their back, it's theirs to feel a little bit more free, play a little bit more confident, and try to find that championship.
So 2 possessions of sorts. Harvard was called for the offensive in the countering area, the transition of possession, and it never left Kiekefer's hands, so that's why it's been reset all the way down. And now Joe Pila, our lead referee in the game and for this tournament, chats with the table. Everything sorted. Even strength. 6-on-6 for a full 30 seconds for the Wolverines, and the Whitecaps attacking left to right. It is Harvard attacking right to left in the Darkcaps in color. The turnaround and the score. Oh, Michigan keeping it going. Libby Alsum-Geist, and it is 9-3 in favor of Michigan.
That was just a great job from Michigan, taking advantage of that press-type defense. Alsum-Geist had pretty much all the time in the world, recognizing where her open movement was, seeing that defender was coming in towards her left shoulder and moving the ball a little bit more to her right into that open water and freeing up her right arm to put it away.
So 9-3 Wolverines, 7:09 to play in the third quarter. And Harvard had the goal from Gilbert late in the first half that got it to 8-3, and thought maybe you could use that into the second. Certainly we're looking to score the first one, maybe the first couple, looking for the answer. Whistles, Emma Gilbert draws an exclusion. 6-on-5, quick shot, and a quick goal. A big answer for the Harvard Crimson, and it is Ruby Hodge who scores.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much exactly what the Crimson needed to do. They did not give the Wolverines any sort of opportunity to settle in, get their 5-on-6 defense set up, and again, just taking advantage of that wide open lane.
Take another look here, the kick out. Ruby will not miss many of those. First team all-conference. Last year had 5 hat tricks. Younger sister of standout and former Harvard goalkeeper on the bench side, Noah Hodge. He and I think the last 7 years of Harvard men's water polo alumni and current team are sitting just to our right here.
Yeah, you might get a little bit of an overflow through the speaker here. You can hear him fired up, trying to will these Crimson to a victory.
That shot just high. Harvard wants to go. Looking for back-to-back. The Crimson have not scored consecutive goals in this game. Got a whistle, an exclusion away from the play. Well out of the sequence of where the ball was. 9-4, Michigan the lead. Harvard, though, to the 6-on-5 attack. Really struggled, especially in the first quarter. 0 for 5 the Tigers were in converting up a player. The no-look pass is behind Hodge. Sees the defender coming, realizing that the exclusion time has now expired. 7 to shoot, into set. Heffelfinger got absolutely smoked, no call. Harvard crowd can't believe it. The Crimson have stolen it back.
Yeah, I mean, that was Ashley O'Neill with the steal, and I think the reason why there was no call versus a call was O'Neill did a good job of putting that ball directly in the middle of her chest and swimming through it rather than playing the player.
Inside, it's loose, and a 5-meter is called. Getting through was Schneider. It appeared that might have lost it, but Schneider was turned. And we've got a yellow-red card out. That's the combo card.
Essentially, that's her second warning for Coach Churnside, and what that means is she has to stay behind the 2-meter line for the rest of the game. So she can't necessarily get as active or animated.
And the penalty is converted this time, Maya O.D. And the momentum perhaps starting to swing a little bit here in Cambridge.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, going on their first 2-goal run here, it is a game of momentum. So, again, Crimson doing a good job of taking it and not giving it back. It's really common to trade goals as we've seen over the first half here, but no, Crimson doing a good job of coming out to start the second half, and plenty of time left with about 13 minutes left, and again, just trying to continue to close the door, putting it within arm's reach into the fourth quarter, and then at that point, anything can happen.
Michigan going back to work. First time that Harvard has gone back-to-back. Wolverines attacking left. They lob. It's off the crossbar. Maybe it's just that end of the pool today where it's bars and posts all around. Harvard's got it back, but no.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it even before the game. Both teams want to play really physical in transition, see if they can get some power play exclusion opportunities here. But the downside is that does come with a handful of offensive turnovers and giving the Wolverines an extra opportunity here on the offensive side.
Fresh shot clock, even string. 18 seconds to shoot. Moving in, 2 blocking hands. The goalkeeper, though, Kiekefer, was set up right between the 2 field blocks and makes the save. Presses on.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what you want to do from the Crimson defensive side of things. Again, we call that funneling the ball, essentially not giving the offensive player really any opportunity to see any part of the goal except for where the goalie is, and that's pretty much exactly where she had to shoot it.
Ball's going to come out of the water.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
A red card has come out. And I believe that means Cassie Churnside has been ejected.
Yeah, so essentially what Joe Pila was saying with the red card here is she moved beyond the 2-meter line. So that was something that I was talking about a little bit earlier, where with that yellow-red, that does kind of put her into a box, and she can't necessarily leave that 2-meter line. So really unfortunate there. Again, not only for the second half of this game, but that means that she can't coach the next game as well in the championship. So really, really tough look. But again, I think the Wolverines will rally around that and try to get this victory for her and see what happens.
So just to clarify, there's a 3-step process, and didn't even have time to go through it to remind those who may be watching for the first time. In water polo, it's yellow first, that's your caution. Then you get the kind of the halfway, yellow-red together. It's not like soccer where we only have 2 strikes. And the 3rd strike just came out straight red. And Cassie Churnside has to leave the pool deck. A 9-5 game, and Harvard looking to lob and score again, but it's kept out. There was a goalkeeper touch by Alex Brown at 9-5 here.
I mean, that was a phenomenal block by Brown. Again, Gilbert looking like she was going to shoot strong the entire time. Brown came up strong like she was going to be able to make that move. As she recognized it was a lob, she was able to pivot onto her left hip and get that right hand on it.
So some fireworks here at Blodgett Pool. Near side, that is off the outside of the cage. Outside of the cage, no goal. Tough to tell with the transparency. Remains 9-5.
Yeah, that's the only, I guess, qualm about these new goals. It's so deep and I guess translucent, like you alluded to, that you can't really tell if it goes in or out of the goal.
Wolverines attacking. Their head coach has been disqualified. And again, like you said, Austin, I think you were right. It was where she was stepping. It's not that she said or did anything to get another warning, but it's just that being restricted to the boxes, you said, basically.
Yeah, exactly. As Joe Pila was pulling out that red card or that 3rd card, you saw him pointing to that 2-meter line. So, again, when you are in a situation like that, they are a little bit more hyper-aware of where you are and what you're doing on the pool deck, and unfortunately, she just went right outside of her box.
So now watching from the balcony level, and the Wolverines have a 9-5 lead still. Let's not take that away. The Wolverines in control of this game. Harvard looking to come back. There's Kiekefer, though, and another goal for Harvard. This place is going to explode on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much the entire third period since that 9th goal. You really see the Michigan Wolverines almost rushing and kind of forcing the offense. Again, being in a 4-goal lead, you don't necessarily need to rush anything, but you do want to force or push the tempo, but you don't need to force anything.
Heffelfinger feeds set, looking for 3 in a row, and there it is! Harvard has another. It's Emma Gilbert, and a 9-6 game.
Looks like the Wolverines going with a wholesale change here. Just trying to find a new group where they can talk about it on the bench. Again, just settle back in. There's no need to panic. There's no need to rush. You have 2 minutes left in the third quarter, and again, you're still up by 3, so really just trying to settle back in, sneak 1 or 2 quick ones back, extend the lead to 4 or 5, and again, just kind of use the clock to your advantage. There's no need to give the Crimson any sort of extra offensive opportunities here.
Well, Sammy Hill is now the acting head coach for the Wolverines. We chatted with Coach Hill earlier, and I do believe Coach Churnside just had to get her belongings. She's trying to get them, and I have to clarify this, but I don't think she's allowed to stay in the facility.
No, I think you have to go kind of out to the gallery area. I don't know if you can have really any sort of visual of the game.
So Coach may be watching with us here shortly.
Yeah, I think tomorrow she can be a spectator, quote unquote.
Thrown out of the pool, shot clock nearing its expiration, so Michigan giving it right back to Harvard. Well, this has changed quickly. Still a 3-goal game, but Harvard has controlled this third quarter. 3 in a row and 4 of the last 5 goals scored by the Crimson. Michigan has led by as many as 6 goals in this game on 2 separate occasions. Gilbert, the most recent time, they again go into center, and it's a Michigan player excluded out. Zapata thought about the quick fire. Look out, Erin Kim, something's not right with Kim. I'm not sure what, maybe just, she's back in the set though, they're gonna continue play. Constance. Now for Kim, the bobble. Advantage for the next 2 seconds. That's up. Zapata's shot is high and just wide. So the Wolverines do hold down a player.
Again, if you're the Wolverines, you just want to try to make it out of this quarter, kind of reset at the quarter break. You want to use the entire shot clock here, really only give the Crimson about 19 seconds to finish off the third period and get a big stop going into the fourth and maintaining that lead and trying to grab some momentum, honestly.
Michigan can go back up by 4, and that's precisely what Sophia Panosian will do, and it is 10-6 Wolverines.
That's pretty much exactly what you need from the Wolverine side of things. Again, Harvard going on a 3-goal run there. Felt like it got a little chaotic through the middle of that third period, especially with that red card from Coach Churnside. Just trying to find some rhythm, again, get that flow back going and see if you can take it and run with it going into the fourth and close it out for not only the program, but in support of the coach back at what at one point was her home pool, and do it for the entire Wolverine program.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting storyline, especially if Michigan can get to the championship game. Still work to be done. Harvard has outscored Michigan in the third quarter. Now just at 3-2. That was a massive goal from Panosian. Harvard has gone 7-on-6 here. I think that's O'D who has donned the goalie cap. Maybe Hodge, actually.
Yeah, I believe it's Hodge.
That's Hodge. O'D is looking for the catch here. This is Gilbert. Fires and stopped just as the time expires. That did not get off from Alex Brown. There's a little bit extra. Some may say a lot extra after the horn sounds.
Getting pretty chippy again as this game goes on. Both teams going on their runs. We know that both teams like to play physical, get into that contact game, and we're seeing it here.
Well, here we go to the fourth quarter. Michigan up by 4. Doesn't really feel like a 4-goal game, though. Winner goes to the championship and will take on Princeton or Brown, who are starting to get loose for our next semifinal. Fourth quarter straight ahead here on ESPN+.
in the air. Good! With their first championship! Unbelievable!
Great seats at a great price. Get them safer, simpler, and smarter with Ticket Smarter. A proud partner to the biggest names in live sports and events, including ESPN events and iHeartRadio. TicketSmarter has seats for over 125,000 live events and 48 million tickets for sale. All backed with the TicketSmarter 100% ticket guarantee. Thinking about your next great live event? Think smarter. Think TicketSmarter. Get your tickets your way, guaranteed, at TicketSmarter.com.
Getting set for the fourth quarter, Michigan has a 10-6 lead over the Harvard Crimson in this 2-3 semifinal matchup. And if you're just joining us, we had fireworks early with the physicality of play. We thought that would be the case in terms of these are two of the most physical teams in the third quarter. Michigan's head coach Cassie Churnside was shown the red card for her third strike and was ejected. Harvard then went on a 3-goal run, and when this game is done, Sophia Podosian's goal to make it 10-6 might be the biggest goal that we had all afternoon in this game. But this is a really interesting fourth quarter that it sets up to be.
Yeah, coming into the break, I guess, in between the third and fourth period, you saw the leadership of Alex Brown and a couple other sophomores really just kind of telling their team to, hey, slow it down, we're okay, we're in control, really just trying to regather themselves going into the fourth period. They know that the Crimson have a lot more confidence, a lot more momentum going into this fourth period, and again, with 8 minutes left, 8 possessions each guaranteed, pretty much anyone's game at this point.
Harvard certainly looking for the first or maybe the first 2 goals, ideally earlier than later in this quarter. Michigan winning the sprint and unable to really get into the offense through the first half of this shot clock to begin quarter 4.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the isolation there on the left-hand side of the pool. That was a great job from Heffelfinger getting into the lane. She recognized that this is where they're going to be looking, trying to isolate that gal on the left post here. So good job getting that quick steal and see if they can take advantage of it in transition.
Kim flips over for OD. Now Kim gets it back. Kim looking, firing short side. It's off the post, but it'll stay with Harvard. And a new shot clock at full 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked to Coach Minnis, and if they can get that 3-headed monster of Kim, OD, and Hodge going, they're a really dangerous team.
Strong defense at set there by Levenfeld. Ella Prentice was trying to secure it for Harvard. It hit, actually, the offensive player Prentice in the head, and that allowed the goalkeeper Brown to come get it and secure the steal. Already a minute gone by in the fourth, and Michigan up by 4. I don't think playing the hold and wait game yet. Aggressive pass taken by Harvard. Exclusion against Michigan coming up pool. Timeout, Crimson. There was a slight advantage for Harvard there coming up. Would have had OD made, would have been a tight window. But timeout Harvard. And that is the, looks like from the likes of it here, the partial timeout.
Yeah, I mean, that was just an extremely hard pass by Utazzi. Again, that offensive center position that they were looking for was, I guess, in a disadvantaged position there where the the center defender was in that front per se, so there's a really small window to put the ball into. Again, Kiefer was ready to be that 7th defender and got the steal. And again, we've seen the Crimson do this time and time again where they do try to get into that physical game in transition, getting that defender on their back, and again, trying to get a power play opportunity and see if they can capitalize.
OD operating on high now. Heffelfinger, the lefty, quick slot inside the lob. It's again off the post and out. Harvard has hit 5 posts or bars in the game.
But again, it's not due to a lack of opportunity. It's just the, I guess, importance of this game. Again, very high intensity, high level, a lot of emotions here from both sides of the pool. So again, it's not for a lack of opportunity.
Harvard player excluded out here. Michigan is going to take a timeout. This looks like it will be a full. Let's also update the foul situation. The most recent Michigan ejection was against Utazzi. That's now 2 for Kata, and playing with 2 for a while, Cerulli, who's done a nice job staying in there. And Harvard does not have anybody with 2. but a really big possession here. Michigan with the 6-on-5 coming up, Austin. They make it 11-6 with under 6 minutes to go. That might be ball game.
Yeah, no, I mean, you don't get to carry these timeouts over, so you got to make sure you use them when you can. And again, with 3 timeouts going into the 4th period, and obviously seeing both teams go on runs throughout the first 3 quarters. Again, very good call by Coach Sammy Hill. And again, just there's no new information here that's going to be going on in these timeouts. Again, it's everything that they've worked for up until today. Again, over the last 10 or 12 weeks, they've built out that body of work, their identity of how they want to create and attack ultimately in these power play opportunities. So again, just another opportunity for them to settle back in, do what they do best, find their open opportunity, and almost trying to create that 2-on-1 to then be able to find that open woman for that one-on-nobody shot.
I'm not sure when Sammy Hill woke up this morning if she'd be the acting head coach, if you will, in the second half of this game. And also wherever Michigan is tomorrow, they hope it's the championship game.
Yeah, I mean, a really cool opportunity for assistant coach Sammy Hill. Again, really unfortunate from the side of head coach Cassie Churnside, especially coaching back at Harvard University, but a really cool opportunity. And I know Coach Churnside has a lot of confidence in her staff and what they can do and how they can lead this Michigan Wolverines team to a victory.
6-on-5 attack is here. The spin through and the goal. Oh, that was pretty. Some flair. And Michigan makes it 11-6.
Yeah, a little bit of an unconventional spin there. She didn't necessarily have too much external pressure there, but again, really good job of controlling the ball, putting her body in a position where she's balanced, squares up her shoulders, and again, that seems to be the recipe for the Michigan Wolverines, putting that ball right above the goalies or right above Kiefer's head. Again, a couple different terms that we can call it. We can call it a nut, a bunny, kind of any other, I guess, terminology in that lane. But again, that seems to be the secret sauce for the Wolverines.
So the reason you didn't hear who scored the goal is because that was scored by number 20. Michigan doesn't have a 20. They made us cap switch, and I wish it didn't happen. It was such a beautiful goal. We were not notified. It was Hirschfield who scored to make it 11-6.
Yeah, we've seen a handful of caps fall off throughout the first 3.5 quarters, so I imagine it's somewhere on the bottom of the pool there, but no, great job by Hirschfield.
Very well could put this game away, especially Harvard going quick, unable to score. Now, goal here would probably certainly do it, and there it is. Will it count, though? I don't think so.
Unfortunately not. So the difference is, so there's a new rule that came into play here where if the offensive player is fouled outside of that 6-meter line, she's able to get that ball live, have a separation of hand, and be able to shoot from there, but that foul was inside the 5.
Quick answer for Harvard, exactly what you're looking for. Emma Gilbert now has a hat trick, and it's 11-7, 4:59 to play.
Again, with 5 possessions left guaranteed to both teams, and Michigan up by 4. They don't necessarily need to force anything offensively. I think the big focus here, or the big emphasis, would be continuing to use the clock to their advantage, really force the Crimson to play as much defense as possible. We've seen both teams being able to draw exclusions and create these power play opportunities, so there's no need to necessarily force anything, but again, you still want to find that rhythm, find that tempo, and play fast, but you don't need to necessarily force any sort of lower percentage opportunity and give the Crimson any sort of extra offensive opportunities here.
Harvard does have 1 timeout left. Michigan has 2. One of those 2 is the partial 30-second timeout, really just for player positioning. Don't really get a coach conversation, more of a shout, if you will. 5 seconds left here. Michigan offensively. Harvard needs a stop. A lob that almost goes. Did it go? Yes, it did! Oh my goodness! And the Wolverines make it 12-7, and Alexis Kiefer can't believe it, and saying so as much.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a tough break for the Crimson. A little cheeky on the strong side lob. That's a little bit more of an unconventional shot, but you can see Kiefer there who jumped back into the goal. So we obviously weren't on the goal line and can't see, but Coach Joe Pila being the referee, the head referee, being on the goal line, he obviously had a better angle than we did.
And he's going to hear it from the Harvard faithful. Tough to tell from the angle we just showed you. Harvard certainly has a case. Maybe a really good one. But a massive goal, 12-7 Michigan, now a takeaway.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge momentum swing for the Wolverines in their favor. You can see him coming on a 2-on-1 advantage here on the left side of the pool. Now we have 3-on-2 all the way to the other side.
Harvard going to have to take some chances here. Down 5, now under 4 minutes to play. And Michigan does not even need to shoot.
So that was an offensive foul because the center and the center defender were facing each other. Even though the center defender didn't necessarily know where the ball was, you can't receive the ball locked up. So as that entry pass came in, both offense and defensive players were in theory locked up, and that's where the offensive possession or the offensive foul came into play.
And now is not the time for icebreakers. Nice to meet you. Not in this stage, or in this sport, at least in that juncture. 6-on-5 advantage for Harvard. They need it. Down 5. Still down 5 because Alex Brown has been sensational in goal.
And again, that's credit to the Wolverines' 5-on-6 defense there, doing a really good job of funneling the ball. There's tons of hands up there, and really only allowing these Crimson offensive players to see where Alex Brown is in the cage, and that's pretty much their only shot.
A reminder that coming up next, scheduled for a 2 o'clock Eastern time start, it will be Princeton against Brown in the other semifinal, and right now it looks like it'll be Michigan who awaits the winner, and Harvard will play the loser in the 3rd place game tomorrow morning.
I have a gut feeling that one will be another close one, Drew. It should be just as exciting as this one.
We are looking forward to a great day of action. We are not even a third of the way done. Timeouts here. It is Harvard's final timeout. As you see all the bodies in the water changing and going back and forth here. We also have our 5th place game in the CWPA for placement in 2024. It'll be Bucknell and St. Francis, 2 teams that have battled. That should be a good one as well. Again, that's at 4 o'clock today. The action here on ESPN Plus. We've reached the point of the day where we've got the whole color palette across the stands. The red of St. Francis is here. The maize and blue of Michigan has been here a while. The crimson, of course, has been here a while. Still waiting for the orange. Oh, no, there's plenty of orange over to our right, actually.
They're starting to trickle in.
They're starting to trickle in. And you have some orange sprinkled within the Crimson faithful. I think that's the bird cards. Mira, a star for the Princeton on the women's side. Jack, a star for Harvard on the men's side. Luckily, you don't have to wear those split jerseys anytime.
Yeah, they can kind of change out the closets.
2
one
separate
fall,
closets.
one spring, which is great. But no, again, I mean, coming out of the timeout here, you can see the Wolverines just continuing to talk about being patient, continuing to use the clock. Again, both teams are guaranteed 3 possessions at minimum here, so really not trying to give the Crimson any sort of extra opportunities on the offensive side of the ball with the 5-goal advantage. It's really just recognizing that the clock is your friend for the last couple minutes of the 4th period. And again, I imagine if you're the Crimson, you're really talking about playing in this high lane press, really trying to get a couple quick steals. We saw Heffelfinger have one of those earlier in the quarter here. So really just trying to see if you can put a little bit more external pressure on the Wolverines, see if you can get them to cough up the ball and just keep chipping away.
3:02 to go. That was Harvard's final timeout. They used nearly all full of the 2 minutes they are allowed to use. Michigan, not much of it. Looking for a stop, make it difficult, and then especially if you don't allow a goal, just sit on it.
Yeah. No, I mean, you saw that in the last offensive possession there from the Wolverines. They used the entire clock. They dumped the ball into the corner and then was able to come back, not get beat into transition, and again, not really give up any sort of opportunity for the Crimson.
Very aggressive defense. Hands were straight up there. You can see it clear as day. Cerulli was playing with 2. Izzy Jackson was in the area too, and that shot did not get off in time. It is a shot clock violation with 2:32 to play, and you're Alex Brown here. You could just hold it for the next 23 seconds and then launch, but get it ahead at least to mid-pool. You don't want to have an offensive and the ball just sits there.
Yeah, you were seeing her communicate with her offensive players to, hey, slow down, release. Unfortunately, an offensive turnover for the Wolverines. And again, I think we've talked about this before, Drew, but that's kind of the big difference between the men's and the women's game. With the women's suits, there is a lot more, I guess, suit to grab or to try to gain that possession or that advantage. So sometimes that can work in your favor, but also can work against you.
Zapata's shot blocked by Cerulli. We saw a lot of that. The field block in the first quarter, really for both teams. And when it's gotten through, Alex Brown for Michigan has been just excellent. 2 minutes to go. Michigan He's going to be able to no stress this the last 100 seconds, it appears. The championship game is scheduled for noon Eastern time tomorrow. The third place game for 10 a.m. Eastern time. It'll be Harvard in that. It'll be Michigan in the champ game at noon, with Brown and Princeton to go coming up next in our second semifinal. Constance here, just high. There might have been a touch from Brown, no.
And the Wolverines making a good adjustment on the defensive end of things. They're recognizing they don't need. That was a quick timeout. I think that was a little bit more from a player safety standpoint. You see a little bit of a heightened frustration there from the Crimson offensive player in transition. So again, with 1:18 left, 26 seconds on this possession here, you're guaranteed at least 2 possessions if you're the Wolverines. You don't need a goal, you don't need to force anything, and yeah, just trying to get everybody into the front court, use the entire 26 seconds.
Full timeout for Michigan. Again, you can't take those home with you. They don't put you in the priority security line at Logan on Sunday night. If, hey, I got 2 timeouts left, that'd be nice though. Maybe I could take some of those. So you see the Wolverines calm, cool, and collected. There's some music playing in-house. I thought for a second they might have been mouthing some lyrics, but no, that is more engaging content.
Yeah, that's definitely Alex Brown's leadership coming back for her 5th year, really just trying to continue to will these Wolverines to a victory here. She's had a couple conference championship wins under her belt as part of the Wolverine program. But again, so she's really comfortable in these high-pressured situations. So again, with Coach Sammy Hill taking over, really relying on everybody in the program to continue to put them in a position to be successful. And again, not only today, but tomorrow, right? This last 3 possessions or so in the game is really about how are you continuing to take this momentum that you've created today and move into the championship game against either the Brown Bears or the Princeton Tigers.
Coach Churnside telling us earlier this week, Alex Brown, a once-in-a-decade type player.
Yeah, I mean, she came back for that. She came back to that 5th year for a reason. She has some unfinished business, and I know she wants to do everything she can to help put her Wolverines in that spot again.
Interesting breakout here. There are 2 players behind the play, one from either side, as you see it drop back in play by Alex Brown, and now Brown will hustle back. And
yeah, I mean, you can see the Crimson here. They're trying to get as many offensive opportunities as possible. They're trying to already be in their offensive front court before they even retain possession. So that way, when she can, you can just see a quick bomb by Kiekefer, see if they can get 1 or 2 goals here. And ultimately, in their game tomorrow, you're trying to do the same thing. You're trying to find that momentum, trying to find some rhythm here.
The net is open on the other end. Princeton getting a 7th on. Kiekefer went to the bench. The goalie cap is on again. I think it's Hodge.
Yeah, they're going to try to get that seventh offensive opportunity here.
You do have to change the cap technically, which is a story for another day. I don't really understand that. Under 30 seconds left to go. That's going to do it. The Michigan Wolverines absorb a Harvard run in the 3rd quarter, also absorb their head coach being disqualified from the match. And Michigan will head to the CWPA Championship game tomorrow with a confident 12-7 win against Harvard in its own pool in the CWPA semis. Hold on. Oh, I don't think we're done yet.
No, I think there was about a ½ second difference between shot clock and game clock. You can kind of tell as both were running down.
Okay, now we're done. Now what I just said is still true. Michigan wins it 12-7, and everybody's smiling, especially on the Wolverine side. And solid performance for the Maize and Blue, Austin.
Yeah, I mean, again, this time last year, this game was a little bit of a different outcome, so I know that they've had this game circled on the calendar for the last 365 days. So really exciting stuff from the Wolverines, trying to get back into that CWPA championship game. And again, go back to work, watch some film this afternoon or this evening, and see what they have to do to potentially overcome the hurdle and get back to the top of the CWPA.
On the other side, the Harvard Crimson will play in the 3rd place game tomorrow, so their season is not over, but their hopes to make it to the NCAAs do come to an end with this loss here today of at-large qualification possibility. In the game, a nice run in the 3rd, but couldn't get it closer than 3 goals in that third quarter and in the fourth as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, the Wolverines doing a good job of, even though they did allow the Crimson to go onto that 3-goal run, they were able to really settle back in. I think that big goal late into the third period to separate it back to 4 really helped carry that Wolverines program throughout the fourth period. Again, with the loss of your head coach, it really kind of speaks to the adversity and the resiliency from the Wolverines program.
So again, tomorrow, Michigan is on to the championship game to meet the winner of our next game. That's coming up at 2 o'clock, about 45 minutes away. So that'll do it for our coverage here of semifinal number 1 in the CWPA here in 2024. And we're coming back in 45 minutes for Princeton and Brown. For Austin Ringheim and the rest of our fantastic team, I'm Drew Casey saying so long for now. From Blodgett Pool here in Cambridge, Massachusetts. One final time, the final score in this one, Michigan 12 and Harvard 7. All games airing here on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.